type, nice coat, white coke. How you live with that smoke? Hop in, jog in. I'm just kidding, I'm broke. Sit a lot, I've been waiting for the day I don't get my pay. Check will make me happy instead of me getting laid. Never done in the middle with a gun. Put a hole in his chest with a torso, don't fall right. In the sun, run until the desert dawns. We don't have no fun till we chillin' at my graveside. I'll be wishing I'm dead. I'll be missing my friends. Get me out of my head. All the letters I send. I'll be wishing I'm dead. I'll be wishing I'm dead. I'll be missing my friends. Get me out of my head. All the letters I send. I'll be wishing I'm dead.
God bless America. I don't know.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yes.
Okay. Man, we all wanted to go live. Well, I was going to go tomorrow, but it's the draft. I can't wait.
That's all good.
Love the NFL draft. The first 2 days anyways. So
Timing was perfect.
look at that. So 15 people to 11 to 8. So I'm wondering, like, what did they think they were going to watch? Because half of them just blew away. What did they think was coming on the screen? Oh, it's not Meet Kevin. I better flee for the hills or something. Speaking of people fleeing for the hills. So
Yes.
I guess we got to get into it because we're going to do just strict hour. And then I think Fabio wanted to do it.
Strict hour.
He can't stay up till 4 a.m. So
Yeah. It's just impressive. Like a lot of ground to cover. All right, let's get into it.
Well, we'll not go too far into Tesla. I make no apologies. So,
Not even in poem form.
I don't give a shit. I'm like, you know what? If you want to buy it, cool. You don't need an old man like me to be on your side. I still think it's an overvalued car company. So just I listened to some of the highlights from his call, and I'm just like, are people forgetting this is a man that is waiting on approval for his compensation package, right? They are voting on it. He said every goddamn thing that he had to make people happy, right? Because he had a financial incentive to tell you that this was going to happen, this was going to happen, that was going to happen. Every product idea in his head was in this quarter because the man is trying to get paid. Remember last quarter when nothing was on the line? We went through it. Everything was a long shot. Everything was terrible. He didn't, half the ideas in this earnings call weren't even in the last one. No mention, some of the products in that presentation, where the F did some of those products come from?
Yeah.
Never heard of anything about them. Nothing. Just he utters them in a call and the stock jumps like $20 a share. You got to hand it to him. He is a fine salesman of the 10th degree. We'll see.
I just think like he's like an elevated like circus promoter. Like because
I mean, CEOs are hype men, right? Like
sure, but like Bezos, at least like back in the day, like he was at least consistent and had direction. Like
right.
Elon,
but he doesn't represent shareholders technically.
Yeah,
the chairman, the board, and the chairman of the
Mhm.
board represent you and me, shareholders. The CEO directly does not.
No,
They're the ones that are supposed to be fighting for you and me.
Yep.
He's running the company.
Mhm.
So he just, here's some notes from it that somebody wrote. Launching new models. I saw that there was a video of a performance Model 3. Okay, cool. He's like, he always wants to compare his vehicles to Porsches. And it's funny because he said faster than a Porsche. The comments under the video were like berating him. And they're like, there's no soul to electric car. You don't understand why someone buys something like a Porsche, right? It doesn't make sense. Nothing about it makes sense. If it made sense, you'd go buy a Honda or a Toyota Camry, right? If you wanted a car that makes sense, it's got to feel like these electric vehicles don't have any soul to them. Like, so who cares? Wow, it goes faster in a straight line. That's just riveting. I mean, it's so out of touch with people. Whatever, you can keep saying comparing Porsche to his car, but And then what other product line? He wants to put out like this cheap ass Tesla Model 2 thing, but then he said it's not really a new car. It's going to be using previous technology. So it sounds like a halfway car. I don't understand what it is. Is it going to be a Model 3 just chopped some of the features out of it or not? But cheaper cars have shittier margins. I don't
Yes.
understand the strategy.
Yep.
The only reason Ford still exists is because they have F-150s and they can make ridiculous, margins on F-150s and commercial trucks that they
Mhm.
sell.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd probably be gone by now.
Mhm.
And it's just so weird that they're like going after the cheaper car. But we said it's because you'd have to make vehicles like a SaaS business where you had subscriptions. So what have we seen last month? Okay, FSD used to be 15 grand, I think. Then it was 12. Now it's $8,000. And then it was $200 a month, but then it became $100 a month. So like the SaaS revenue is just getting chopped apart. Whatever modeling you have to do, I mean, the revenue is just fleeting. Like, is it going to be $50 a month all of a sudden? And he's just like, oh, everything's next year. Everything's next year, right? Of
Yeah.
course, everything's always next year with him. So eat it up, people. If you want to believe all this stuff, I would have appreciated if he had actually and if he'd actually like said we're focused on this, because he just said we're doing all of it,
Yeah.
which is very unbelievable. If he had been more specific, we are focused on this, and here's some more long our priority is it the FSD or the robots? Which one is it? Where's your capex going? Because all we know is the total capex
Mhm.
dollar. Where's the capex going? So very just unbelievable. There's nothing to back up most of what he said. That's what I felt. The licensing comment made me laugh so hard.
Yes. Same.
Some company they're in talks with to license FSD. Okay. What the hell? And because he knows that is a revenue driver that people would put in their calculator if he actually could get one of those deals. I'm like, we don't even know a company. We don't even know. He probably had his people reaching out to every company in the world, trying desperately to get any sort of FSD licensing deal done that he could talk about. What does that even mean? So you're going to have like Toyotas or GM put Tesla computers in their cars and cameras? Like how does this even work that you could put FSD in another company's vehicles? What a logistics nightmare for the other company. Um, Nobody's licensed anything from Tesla. At least GM's Ultima platform has been licensed by Honda. So it's never happened. So we don't know if does anybody even want to license anything from Tesla? So far, it's no. If they're so advanced, then why hasn't it happened yet? It's just weird why even talk about it in a call. It's such a nothing burger.
Yeah.
He still promises more cars this year, even though we're
Oh,
already down from the first quarter.
that is one of the things I immediately noticed, and thankfully they share those KPIs of units produced, units delivered.
It's just
There's
weird
a
because
clear
it's like
mismatch.
the cash flows are terrible, the margins are going
Yeah.
down. Everything that we thought was going to happen because of lowering prices continuously has happened.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know, but so what can we say?
Yeah.
Uh,
Just I thought it was an utter shit show. Like,
it's
oh,
unbelievable what the price did. I am stunned, but you know, this is the meme stock of meme stocks, right? So anything is possible.
oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. That like another gigafactory. That's what we need.
um, where is it? I mean, you got like this, and it's like I'm trying to get the screen up. I mean, there's like the storage business, so be it. Looks
Mhm.
great. Some of this stuff, man, I'm just like, holy crap! Like, where's that one chart? Let me go down. Okay, here. We'll get into this in a second. But I could spend another 30 minutes talking about the Cybertruck and all the problems. Oh my god. Parts are coming off of them. You have to put it in car wash mode. This is something I just learned. And I had said in my original Cybertruck video, car washes you won't be able to use them because of the stainless steel coating. The stainless steel doesn't react well to chemicals and heat. We talked about this
Yes.
just in general. So you probably don't want to go to any car wash. So, but then I didn't realize there's actually a car wash mode in Cybertrucks. And if you don't put it in that mode, you could kill it and you void the warranty. I don't know what it does.
What?
What the hell is a car wash mode? I have no idea what this is. So
Maybe
this is
that's how they
fascinating.
improve top line and churn out more inventory.
This is such a weird, like, okay, this.
Oh,
Where the F did this come from? Have you ever heard of this?
I haven't.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? I've never heard of them doing a ride sharing app. I mean, I'm sure somebody who loves Tesla is going to tell me you've been talking about it for years. I've never heard of this. All of a sudden, boom, this is in their quarter. Right before he wants to get paid, what, $50 billion comp package? So all of a sudden now, before I thought it was you're going to push your button on your Tesla app and your car was going to drive away, robo-taxi around, come back, and you make money, right? Now we're ride sharing. What the F? This looks like some person in the PR department made this and docked this up. This is not real. This does not look real. This is so like
That
in the
part right
app,
there.
like,
Yeah.
where are the features? Like, there's like nothing here. Where's the thing to notify you to pick like ride, like to pick you up? Any buttons like that? How would you even figure out what street you're on? It's all blacked out. Like, what the hell is this? This is unbelievable.
I'm sure Uber is terrified.
Yeah, so all of a sudden now, okay, here's a new business, right? Not even now ride sharing. We're gonna have cyber cabs or some bull. Like, I didn't know where this comes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Dojo. He already said long shot last call. No. But we're serious though. We're so serious. You know, we're gonna compete with NVIDIA and AMD. So we're gonna compete with Uber. We're gonna compete with NVIDIA, AMD, Microsoft, okay, and Meta.
Yep.
Who else are we going to compete with? Energy, I think they will do great on mega packs and charging network. That's their. I still think the Gigafactory tech and the energy business, but they don't want to be valued like that because that's a lower multiple business.
Yeah.
They want to be valued like a technology company because it's a higher valuation. Like, this is terrible. Like, free cash flow just fell off a cliff. Like, they can't even sell cars. They have now moved into like the territory of every other electric vehicle company.
Yes.
None of them make money selling cars now, apparently, including Tesla. So none of them. They're all struggling. So that's lovely. And they also, they'll fix it. They'll fix it because this is a rough year and they'll fix it. Okay. So there's that. You can go through channel. We got to keep moving, but okay.
Yeah.
So
that one was beautiful.
Oh my God, this killed me to look at this. I'm just like, people. We've just spent the last like 5 years unconglomerating American companies. Like, how many conglomerates are gone now? Johnson & Johnson, General Electric, 3M.
Yeah, they're in the process.
Like, who else has spun off companies?
IBM also.
IBM.
Yeah.
Dell.
Yep.
Right? Hewlett Packard. Oh my God. Everybody has spun off because this is America. We don't like conglomerates. We want focused businesses with the eye on the prize. General Electric's, my God, I wish I could go back and buy it before it split like 4 years ago. Amazing job. Fantastic by the CEO that did that. Oh, was it Larry Culp? But now here comes Elon. Yeah, we're going to be a conglomerate because that's what works in America. No, every other company's wrong because we're going to do rockets, cars, insurance. Some of these businesses barely make any sense being put together.
No,
I guess you could say because they're manufacturing. We're gonna. It's like, what is the focus? What is the focus? This isn't hilarious. But apparently nobody gives a shit. So here we go. This is my little fun PowerPoint that I made. And I put so much work in this. If you don't like this, I want to be praised in the comments about this. Look at the cute robot.
For whatever it's worth, I think it's great.
So
nice.
I just wanted to like, okay, here's all the businesses that I was kind of identifying from that chart. And let's just talk about CapEx, like money that's out there, expenditures by companies to improve their products, innovation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So robots. Okay. Now, this is total Tesla CapEx for 2023. I mean, I'm not going to break it down. I don't think you even can. So here in humanoid robots, like we said, Apple's a player now.
Yep.
Obviously, they got more CapEx than Tesla. Nvidia, which is a little deceptive because Nvidia does a lot of share comp. So I didn't include like stock-based comp in this. So Nvidia's is a little deceptive. BMW I threw in for fun because BMW has a humanoid robot now in factories, and it's kind of funny that they have quite a bit of capex, which is normal for an automotive company, for various reasons. So okay, AI computing companies, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Nvidia again, Meta 27 billion capex last year, so Microsoft 28 billion. If you added stock-based comp, Nvidia would probably be like 5 or 6. But they've been doing this for a decade plus, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
they are leaps and bounds ahead of people, even though they don't have the dollars, maybe, but they've got the lead. And then so this year, I pulled this from like comments from Elon and Zuckerberg. So Meta, in January, Zuckerberg said they would plan to have 350,000 GPUs, the current GPU from NVIDIA, the H100s. In the earnings call, Elon said they expected to have 85,000 by the end of the year. He said right now they only have like 30. So just think of the scales of economy this car company has, fighting someone like Meta on artificial intelligence. Like, this is like they are so just undercapitalized compared to, and then going with these companies. I didn't even put Google in here, which you'll see in another slide. So this is what they're up against. And again, not all this money is going to AI compute because Tesla's doing all of these things. So they have to divvy this, 8-9 billion up between all these projects. You could argue Meta is not dividing it up anything else other than AI. Okay, ride sharing FSD companies. We got they don't spend that much, but they're barely profitable. Uber just became profitable.
Yeah.
Lyft is a garbage dump of a company, so I put it on there. Then there's this one in China, DiDi's. So these are spending, in the millions. Google, obviously, a lot, but not all of it's FSD ride sharing.
Yeah.
Vehicles. So again, another complaint. They're not keeping up to date with their models, even though they have new models coming out. The updates are like unimpressive to me. Like the Highland 3, it's like they just took features away. That's what it looked like they did. They took away the dash and they took away turning controls. So here's like what they're up against. And I know CapEx includes lots of things other than just research and development. It includes other expenses, but you get the idea. And then they have on the chart lithium refining. Like I just laugh because it's like, okay, why is this even on there? Are you buying a lithium company all of a sudden? What the hell does this have to do with anything? But I just laugh. And here's stuff. How do we can't forget this stuff just because the stock went up, people. The stock went up, okay? Oh my God, the stock went up. Okay, it's been freaking annihilated since it joined the S&P 500. So one day doesn't resolve that. Like, he promised a whole fleet of semi trucks, and I think they've made like 50 or 100 that they've only sent to one company, Pepsi. That's it. Pepsi's the only company running these trucks. There is no production. Of course, didn't he say during the call, I bet he said next year, maybe. I bet you that's what he said. Maybe next year, or should be next year. Okay. All of a sudden, he's been promising this truck since like 18, I think. Oh, here's a good tweet. The price of FSD will increase over time. That was in 2019. Okay. It's actually dropping very fast. Like, he's cut it in half. Holy shit. So
I love that reply and response. Vehicles appreciating assets, bruh.
Dead cat bounce. I hate when people say, "Oh, that's shorts covering." I'm like, that's not. That's everyone says shorts covering crap. Yep. He just asked for his 56 billion. He asked for the same incentive packages. He got rejected in court, except they moved to Texas, where. I got news for people owning the stock. There's a reason you want your public companies to be incorporated in Delaware.
Oh yeah.
There's a reason that's a good thing. Okay. They have very strong corporate law systems and governmental bodies in place in Delaware to handle like issues. Moving to Texas is not good for you. It's good for Elon, maybe. It's not good for shareholders as far as if you want oversight. And you do want to be have your corporate headquarters in Delaware. Some Tesla haters. I just want like a focus. Like I always look for. I pay attention to what managers say in companies I own. I want specific focus. What is the priority? That whole chart he showed us. Okay, what give me like 1, 2, 3, just number them. I don't know. Tell me like what is the priority? Because this is confusing and this makes no sense. I don't give a shit about your ecosystem. Everybody wants to sell you freaking ecosystem. Every company uses this damn term. SoFi wants to build you an ecosystem, for God's sakes. Palantir probably does. Tesla. Everybody wants you in their ecosystem. This term is like, I could vomit every company that says ecosystem. So, like, how about, okay, what's the priority here? Is robots the priority, or the ride-hailing app, or AI computing? Don't tell me you're doing all of them, because you're up against a lot of really good companies that have a lot of free cash flow and a lot of money to put into CapEx in all of these businesses. Insurance, you're up against Berkshire Hathaway, right? So, which I think is still a mistake. Should have stayed out of insurance business. But this was the one part that actually they were doing, the one I'm not criticizing, because solar energy charging, fantastic. So, but okay, we hurrying up through this. What's funny that all the freaking Tesla people from the last 2-3 years fled the stock. It was just so funny because they all were like 2030, man. When they bought it, right? They're like, man, this stock is going places 2030, 16 million cars, margin's going to increase, FSD, all this stuff. Rah. They're all gone. They all like, this guy's like some day trading clown. He shorted the stock.
Yep.
Or no, he sold the stock before earnings. If you follow, go follow his Twitter chain, people. So he sold it before earnings. It rips. Then he shorts it. And then it goes up even more. And then he like bought it back in. So, just fucking emotional damage, just blowing his mind. And then he's like pretending that he wanted to say like he's making a lot of money and we're all clowns. Very entertaining to watch. But he's one of my favorite Tesla shills to follow. And then let's see. You got Ross Gerber, he still owns Tesla, but he makes fun of them all the time. He says he's team Tesla, but he's constantly criticizing. So he bailed on you too, basically. They've trimmed a lot of their position. I mean, that's not new. But this guy, what a piece of garbage this guy is. What a piece of garbage. Like, this guy is like meet Kevin level garbage. Like I loved this tweet, and I saw this a few days ago. Because he changed his price target, and they bailed basically. His future fund and Gary Black was like 20% Tesla. And then they dropped to like 2%. And then he was bragging before earnings that he wished he had actually sold all of it. And then he does his price targets, right? Yeah. And then this person made a good point. They're like, you sold all your Tesla. Then you come out with price targets saying it's still worth $200-$300 in a year or two. So why aren't you buying it? If you're telling us it's $140 stock, it's going to be $200 in 6 to 12 months, who wouldn't buy it? I'd buy it. That sounds great. But like, and then this hot, a price target's a theoretical value based on long-term cash flows or earnings. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Expectations are too low or too high. Valuation is not reflected in Tesla. Like, this guy, like, people followed him probably. He's like, buy my subscription plan. And then he just pumps out nonstop Tesla garbage the last few years. And then finally it like comes to a head. He bailed on you. He pumped you full of all this freaking hopium of Tesla for the last like 2-3 years. And then when things get tough, he's out. And you're holding the bag. You're down 40-50% on your Tesla shares. So another guy bailed on you. Just these people are disgusting to me. And then there's always the people, well, it's your portfolio, you pick the stock. It's on you. It's like, no, I don't. It's not right what these people did. It's not. He's a professional money manager.
Yeah.
He saw Tesla was the hot stock. He got on the train, pumped his ETF. He had a subscription. I think he had a paid subscription for you to get his information on Tesla. So he fully dove in and profited from people and scalped you. And then as soon as Tesla went a little bad, he gone. He's out. But they won't disappear though. He'll creep back in. These people it's disgusting to me. They're like leeches. These people like this, these are fucking leeches on retail investors. Like this just sucks that they exist. A lot of these ETF managers are like this. A lot of people that run ETFs are freaking vampires. They're just trying to suck blood out of retail investors. Predatory, like a few other ETFs we've talked about. So this is one of those guys. And he just won't stop. He's still on the bandwagon. It's like you quit. What happened to people quitting and leaving? In investing, it's so weird. They quit and then they stay in the room. These guys, like they're like, I'm out. Like it's like Tesla fan club. They're like, I'm out, guys. See you later. And then they like go get a coffee and stand in the corner and like, we're like, are you gonna leave? Nah, man. Like, oh, Dan is just listing off legacy companies for real.
Yeah.
Before I believe in new products, I'm still waiting on full unmonetized self-driving by the end of 2016. The 10K Hyperloop. Oh yeah, the Boring Company went bankrupt. Proof of concept, Mars cargo missions, the ride-hailing app. Like seriously, where did that come from, people?
I know, right?
Where all of a sudden Tesla's going to be Uber now? I thought they were going to be Transformers. Anyways, we should probably move on at 26 minutes. Yeah, Meet Kevin's gone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They fired a bunch of people. So you're going to do all these projects while you lay off 10% of your world workforce. And they said it's like engineers, executives. It's not just people on the lines building these things.
Mm-hmm.
Wholesale cuts.
Oh yeah, the servicing. We talked about that one too.
Yep. The two executives a few days ago, and then the head of investor relations is gone now. So crazy.
I wonder why.
Anyways, let's move on from that. 30 minutes.
It's trash can on fire. Stock price.
I mean, if you believe some of this stuff, then fine. I mean,
yeah.
Like my metric on individual stocks now is like, can it double in 5 years? That's where I kind of my starting thought process. If I'm going to hold it long term, can it double in 5 years? At 140 Tesla, maybe. Could be a compelling case for that, but I'm too old for this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that market cap is still like $1 trillion market cap for Tesla within 5 years.
Yeah, I'll pass. Okay.
Yeah,
you don't have to. I have plenty of exposure to Tesla. Moxie is here. Hello, Moxie. Let's see. Oh, I said meet Kevin. Oh, I thought she said debate. I'm like, oh, yeah, right. He would. I would never. I have no interest in talking to meet Kevin on my channel. People, yeah, right. You want the views? Like, what? I get $20 for one video. Pass on that. It's okay. So the bill got passed. Oh, I didn't put it on the screen.
Yeah. Yep. Big news.
And we didn't really dive into this too much on the military episode because it's like I thought it was going to pass at some point if the Republicans they got paid off by Putin would get out of the way. So, or the ones that always want, budget cuts for every dollar spent. Those people, there's only like 10 of those people left, I think, the Freedom Caucus. Freaking ridiculous people. Like, this is the best. I don't think like this is the most cost-effective money we've ever spent on defense of the United States. Because we blow a lot of money in defense. Lots of money. $1 trillion in Iraq, I think it was. Like, we spent like $20 billion on the military in Afghanistan that they just ran away at the first, shot. Like, this is the best money we've ever spent in the defense industry. And then they're like, oh, this is too much. It's like, no, this is where you want to spend. You have a very capable, military with the Ukrainians. They're very innovative and they're fighting such an impressive battle against overwhelming odds. and we don't want to give them some weapons, this money goes to American companies. So like some Republicans are like, oh, we're just handing suitcases of cash, which I did in Afghanistan. I did. I handed a suitcase of cash to some dude running a school for women. That was fun. Anyway, that's a story for another day. But yeah, this money goes to America. Like some of it goes to Ukraine cash, but they buy American and European weapons. They go to Poland and then they get put on trains and buses and they get sent over there. Or we buy them 3D printers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, 61 billion for Ukraine, replenishing US stock. Yeah, in this money is literally money for ourselves too, because we gave them stuff that we're going to build stockpile back. Purchasing of weapons would be, it's not that much of it actually. The amount provided for Ukraine to purchase weapons is only 14 billion. So this is only like a year of money. Economic assistance, like we're literally paying the salary of government workers in Ukraine, which we were before, because they need tax help. Their people are fighting, not working. So I don't want to get into the Israeli portion of it.
I'd stop that. Yeah, we can.
But this is good for like Rheinmetall, that European weapons manufacturer, because they're putting up. They're going to have all the artillery production. I think a lot of it, which they've already done really well. But if they have any sort of drop, I would love to. I would possibly buy some, although I don't know if it's ADR. I think I'd have to buy the European shares. I'd have to look into it more.
Yeah.
This is good for Lockheed Martin. It's good for Raytheon because they're the ones that are replenishing all the military, like the missiles. Most of it's Raytheon and Raytheon Lockheed Martin. So I'm happy for this. This is the best money we could spend. We got to stop Putin. I don't know. What do you think as a military person too? I think we can't let him take Ukraine. Like this is a very important fight, I think.
I sadly I think so too, because I anticipate, and people in the comments can feel free to disagree with me, but my view is he wouldn't stop with just Ukraine. And if you look at who's in NATO and who's not, things get really spicy in a bad way.
I think the fact that Finland was so quick to join NATO after Ukraine started told me because some people are like, oh, he said he would stop. He's not going to attack NATO.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got a country that's on the border that very quickly was so scared of that prospect that they freaking joined NATO. So you tell me what's reality. I think we could talk to the Finnish, see what they think. And then the Baltic states are very concerned. They've done more training.
Yeah. And even someone that isn't necessarily pro-US, Serbia, like they ever since day one, they've been strangely not quiet, but like you would think that they would lean heavily on Russia's side if Russia were this great thing that anti-American people would say. Like just an observation.
Yeah, this is the White House statement.
Yes.
So I think this is great. I mean, what does winning mean? I don't know yet, because it's going to be some sort of peace. I don't know. It's probably going to end up something like North Korea, South Korea. In all likelihood, I think. I don't think they're going to completely defeat the Russians unless there's some sort of collapse of the Russian system, which those can happen very fast. Putin could pass away, and who knows? Like nobody knows how this is going to end. We don't know. I can't. Nuclear weapons seems like a ridiculous idea, but anyways. So good for us. This is freedom money. And the people are like, we can't afford this. It's like, what do you mean? We spent $1 trillion in Iraq. We can afford this. We can afford this just fine. Like this is American jobs, American weapons. So this is like supporting our own economy, basically.
Yes, that right there, you hit it right on the head. Which is like so much of the money, the dollar amounts, actually like is such where American jobs and American production increases for American use in the future. For better.
Did you hear though? So we finally, I guess, gave them. I just saw before this. We are finally giving them ATACMS. I think it said.
Ooh.
So I think So for people that like the rockets we were giving them are were they Gimlis?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
So those are like short range, I think
Hmm.
like like 50 kilometers or something. Like, you know, very intermediate short range. These ATACMS missiles are like you can go pretty deep in Russia with those things. But we didn't want them to do that. So I think that's why we didn't give them those weapons before. I think the gloves are kind of coming off.
Yeah.
There's, you know, the Russians have used chemical weapons. I've seen they've said they've been using chemical weapons in the trenches, which they're they're kind of breaking some rules there. So, I mean, yeah, the gloves. War only gets if people have ever like history buffs like me know, and I don't know if you're a history buff. Wars only get more deadly the longer they go.
Yeah.
More people die the longer wars go on. They don't
Mhm.
decelerate, they accelerate.
Yeah.
So if you look at any war, more people are dying like every month. Like for World War One, World War Two, it's always the same. It's the most violent before the very end. So it's only going to accelerate. So I think we can support them.
I think so
But
too. Yeah.
it's
It's
just
funny
pure
how.
evil. There's no
Yeah.
reason for what Putin's doing. And I'm an American soldier, so F Putin and F communists. So all right. So speaking of communists,
The whole name of the bill and the ban.
this is gonna be so interesting. I was 50-50 they were gonna do it, but, the
Yeah,
banning of TikTok.
they did it
So,
for.
originally, I think it gave them 6 months, and then now they not got 9 months
Yes.
to sell the company. So, what do you think? Do you think this is this a breach of freedom of speech, or do you think this is right? What do you think?
I I think it's honestly right, and it's like because they already banned Facebook and Instagram.
Mhm.
So like I'm not saying like we should all be happy for Facebook and Instagram and apps like that necessarily, but what I will say though is this was long overdue tit for tat, so to speak.
Do you remember that
Uh,
trend that went around the, like, take your face a photo of your face challenge?
yeah, that one. Yeah.
They th I read that people were suspecting because everyone's like, "Where did this come from?" Because no one could figure out, like, who started it, and I
Mhm.
think I read online, someone's like, the Chinese started it so that you would take a photo of yourself for their data collection
Mhm.
voluntarily, right? Because they know
Yeah.
who you are by your account, and then you take a photo of yourself. So, it's just more data for them to spy on us. So yeah, that dude that went on the Hill, the Singapore guy that's like, "Oh, the data's in America. We have no connections to the Chinese." Like, don't
Come
believe
on.
one word of what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens because they say there's no connection in the Chinese government. Okay, if there's no connection, you should have no problem selling TikTok now. But
No.
I don't think they will. I'd be shocked. I don't know.
Same here.
They're either going to pull it from America and maybe try and lobby to get it back and just have it international, or they're gonna go to court, obviously, litigate the hell out of this. What other options? Or I can't imagine them selling it. I'd be shocked because that kind of proves the point. Or you know, if they did sell it, then maybe they were right. Maybe it wasn't controlled by the Chinese. But
Hard to
I don't know.
say.
I've never signed up for it. I won't sign up for TikTok. I won't have my kids sign up for it. My wife can do what she wants, I guess. But
Yeah.
I always make fun of her for supporting communism. So yeah. So F that. I'm glad it's getting banned. Sorry that your entertainment will suffer, people, while you're sitting in bed. Scroll somewhere else. I don't know.
It's
Watch my channel. There you go.
another app will come out. It always
Oh yeah.
happens. Like,
Yeah, another app will come out. You know, I was thinking though,
mhm.
I looked this week because I'm like, who else does short content? You know what I'm thinking? I'm like, who else is out there? And it's like, but it's like it's YouTube,
Mhm.
Instagram,
Yep.
uh, Facebook.
Mhm.
So like I don't see the investment. But then Snapchat.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm kind of like, could Snapchat get some sort of benefit from this? Not let's say not even a real benefit, a perceived benefit,
Oh. Oh,
like
okay.
a social arb
Yeah, I
benefit.
see what. Yeah, yeah.
And then people, oh, they'll run the numbers and say, man, Snapchat's a shit business. I'm like, no, no, social arb idea.
Mhm.
People will just think what we're thinking, that TikTokers will go to some other platform and maybe it's Snapchat and maybe it just goes up a little bit. I don't know. I don't see the other top players in short content. They're all those big tech firms. It probably doesn't move the needle much.
Yeah.
Although you could say Google could be a benefit. It's still kind of cheap to some degree.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe.
so
Yeah,
makes you
especially
think,
for
something
them.
to think about the next few months as this
For
plays
sure.
out.
Yeah, yeah. Early days on this and the landscape of what happens with
Like,
TikTok US.
this isn't a freedom of speech issue. Like, this is a
No.
national defense issue. That's what
Yeah.
kills me. This is national defense. This is not about freedom of speech. You have a foreign adversary that is part of that has control of a, very large, well-used app in America. So First Amendment's not as important. Like, national defense matters in a case like this. And like Bacon said, they banned our big social media companies. So
Yeah.
screw
No,
those.
it is. It happens.
Mhm.
Quite common in the world.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
YouTube Short.
Yep.
I'll do one YouTube Short for you, Lincoln. They don't pay much, I read. You
Yeah.
get, like, pennies. You don't have the balls to say it. I'm not sure what I didn't say.
Yeah.
Putin ain't dumb enough to try and take more than Ukraine. I mean, I could see, like, a piece where, like, they give up, like, Crimea and those 2 provinces in the eastern side of Russia, and then Russia creates a buffer zone by making those, like, semi-autonomous states.
Yeah.
Um,
Belarus, more or less.
that I mean, I don't think that eastern provinces are really, they're kind of a nothing burger. It's more about the western side of Ukraine.
Yeah.
But Crimea, that hurts if they had to give up Crimea. So I don't know. Maybe they split Crimea in half. Like, can't we just go down the middle of it? But then Sevastopol is on the
Yeah.
western side, so you can't even do that.
No.
Um, I don't know. It's going to be some negotiated peace, or we fight until Putin dies, is what I think. I think it's one or the other.
Yeah. He is
Uh,
getting up there in age.
and Zelensky said they're not willing to give any land up, which
No.
who knows what's going on behind the scenes. We have no idea. So there's
Yeah.
that. Okay, we got 20 minutes left.
Putin is in his 70s.
Well, I don't know if
Oops.
he's starting at 10. I just said I'd be done by try to keep by an hour. All right. Well, these last 2 subjects kind of short.
Oh, okay. Alrighty.
Can make them as short as I want.
Yeah.
I
okay.
should do a longer video of this.
Small cap.
So all I was going to say is I love, there's so much small cap, wrong time to buy. I have one article that says rising rates benefit small caps. Okay, we're in a rising rate environment. So here's another article. Small caps. Why now is not the time to buy? Wait a minute. Which one is it? Who's right? I've read in the past, like, obviously in a high rate environment, small cap companies can struggle typically because they might typically have higher debt than larger companies. They have shittier rates, so they pay more
Yes.
interest or
Yep.
pay more interest on their debt. They have less cash flow to deal with, like, adverse times, blah blah blah. So, but I think I did increase my exposure to small caps this year at the beginning of the year and international, my specific international. So it's tough because we don't talk about it because it's like, I'm not going to talk about, like, small cap companies. Most of them, like, who are you going to talk about? Like, and Palantir is not a small cap company, which people always say. But I think to try and have exposure to individual small caps, I guess, here and there, I have a few, but
Yeah.
I think ETFs are a great product for this. But I increased my allocation, but I said small, like 3% increase this year. No, I mean, there's no earth shattering changes, but
Mhm.
I increased my small cap, I think 2 and 3% in my 2 different portfolios. So does that make me a believer, I guess? But we'll get
People do.
another time. I'll do international. I increased international more, double
Ooh.
small cap, but I'll do that a different time.
Yeah.
But I think this is a good time to buy small caps, I think, because large caps have run up. So the valuation difference between small cap and the SP 500 is, like, crazy out of whack right now.
Mm.
So out of historical norms. So I think tweaking your allocations in your core holdings to increase small cap is appropriate. I did it in January, so because of the run of the S&P. So like I said, it took like 3% off the S&P small cap, but
it'll be. I do hope you actually see it and to fit to put this in your schedule for more content in the future, because like this and international, because like you already know the pitfalls of like, say I want a France ETF, and if you like really think about it, it's like, why do you want a fashion ETF?
mhm. Now
So
for people like I don't consider I won't consider a growth small cap.
mm,
I've looked at them. First of all, they all look like they have really bad performance historically. Secondly, my problem is a growth formula, a growth approach to small caps means you're going to be buying unprofitable companies. Which is different from SCHG, which is large cap growth. Different ball game, small cap. I've looked at some of them, and it's like it's a lot of really sad looking companies that barely make money, but it's growth, right? Tattooed Chef. So Tattooed Chef would be in a small cap growth portfolio probably, but it wouldn't be in a value portfolio. So value, a small cap value fund, then you are factor investing. If people want that's what factor investing's research showed, that historically small cap value outperforms over long periods of time. So when you hear factor investing, that's what there you go. So that's primarily what I have, small cap value. And then the other one in my retirement, there is no small cap value. So I found this like strategic Vanguard fund, but it was similar to a value approach for mid caps with a little targeted small cap. It's all I had, right? It was that or the Russell 2000, which I don't really believe in the Russell 2000. I don't think market cap weighted approach to small cap makes sense based on there is a factor investing approach that has shown it's performed better over long periods of time. Just my opinion. People can go read factor investing research. I haven't done that video yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
Not yet. We did a leverage video.
Yes.
There you go. You do a small cap value fund with a 2x leverage S&P 500. I bet you do pretty well, actually.
Given the long enough time frame,
because that approach is backed by two or three studies. I bet that would do well, but I don't do that.
Yeah, long enough time horizon. I don't see why not.
So I'm doing this one if people care. I think this is the biggest one there is. Avantis US small cap value. So there's other options. This is I think it's the biggest, most well-known one. So Doc told me about this one. So
hey, good old Doc.
Who am I to complain? It seems fine.
Yeah.
Lower ratio. So here's like the Russell 2000. It's just like, I think sometimes targeted approaches do matter. I think efficient markets, I think the market efficient theory makes sense for larger companies. I don't know about small caps. I don't know if it's not necessarily works, but we can all agree to disagree.
No, for sure.
So you can see, like, here's a good example. On a 5-year basis, the value small cap outperformed barely, but the Russell's been obliterated. For given reason, when money's cheap, you think they benefit, but then lately, so have the large cap companies sucked all the liquidity up. And they've taken on debt. A lot of large cap companies have taken on debt just to buy shares back. Is what happened. So like companies like Lowe's, for example, I know did definitely, they didn't need the debt, but they're like cheap money. So these large companies sucked all the freaking debt out of the system to buy shares back. So they did really well. And that debt is not debt that small caps can then take up. So I think the game was a little different with this low rate environment, because people say, oh, in low rate environment, small caps do better. It's like, maybe. I think long-term, a targeted approach like a value ETF, small cap, still will do fine. So are you any small cap, or are you just S&P 500?
S&P
Or total
500. Yeah, like for me though, it's that I try to express my active port with some mid and smaller caps. getting more comfortable with the smaller side of the mid cap or of the market caps. I
That's a great comment. Russell 2000, you don't like your money appreciating.
yeah.
Oh, there was one comment like, why not do mid cap? I'm like, Andrew had a good. It's like mid caps to me seem like just failed companies. I don't know.
Hmm.
Like, I don't see any compelling information about investing in mid caps, like factor investing, and
Yeah, no, I agree.
it just
From a
seems like
factor, yeah,
companies that just hit a wall,
yep,
right?
yep.
Some companies just hit a wall, and that's as big as they get.
Mhm.
They're not going to become, the next Pepsi or Microsoft.
Yeah,
So I think I'd rather stick if I'm going to pick something below the SP 500 to go with it. I would pair it with a small cap value fund.
yeah. Of course, like that, I don't think anyone should misconstrue your points though and say, "Oh, you're completely against like individually picking a small cap when the price is right or
Damn
compelling."
it, I can't
Because
pull that. Yeah,
yeah,
small cap growth. Sometimes you're like, oh my, looks like
yeah,
death. Like I should have pulled up a small cap growth to like SCHG. Quite the difference, even though they're both growth, right?
yes.
Um, yeah, what is it? Does Schwab have one? I think. Or Schwab doesn't always have these.
Oh,
Let
as
me
far as like
like
the
the factor ones.
yeah, yeah.
They kind of don't really do that.
I don't think so. Like maybe they have like a
ISCG. Okay, let me see if that's a thing. Did I pull the right one?
I think I see ISCG for
Yeah,
the
see,
growth.
like look, it's
Yeah, it
just barely
matches.
doing better than the Russell.
Yeah.
It's so weird too because you think surely growth. I want to be a growth investor. It's like pause. Depends
Mhm.
on what we're talking about. Like if you want to be a large cap growth investor, yeah, you do.
Yep.
Small caps though, there's nothing to back up being a small cap growth investor. And there's so many people out there that are like hunting for these micro caps that are going to become the next Amazon. That's tough. It's like one in 1,000 companies maybe. That's what Peter Lynch did. He picked a lot of companies that were small and he hoped for a few that would really, 14, 20x, right? To cover the ones that did nothing or went to zero.
Yeah.
So,
Because that's oh shoot, I'm forgetting the entrepreneur company. Yeah, but there's a company that like invests in startups and they pretty much do the exact same thing. Like some money with a crap ton of companies every year. They know that a fair amount of them are gonna completely bite the bullet, but if they do all right long term.
listen, your boy knows micro caps. Just saying. I'm doing okay.
You finally showed it.
That's all you get.
Yeah.
Um, okay. I think individual stock investing in small caps should be very limited.
Yes.
And for those, you're looking for like I hate to say 10x. I'm not gonna say it. You're pro- I'm your I 5x.
Yep.
So like 5x in 5 years, let's say. Like the bar should be higher, I think, than a bigger company.
Mhm.
Which some people might say, well, that's stupid. Okay, cool. But um, because you're taking on more some of these, look at like Tattoo Chef, Oatly, Peloton, you
Yep.
know, that these are like examples of small cap growth companies that die on the vine. So either they're specific environments they do well in, or they just hit a wall,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
as big as they're ever going to get.
Yep.
Um, and then they just, at that point, but every company gets to kind of that point. You kind of get as big as you're going to get, and then all that's left now is to be more efficient,
Mhm.
buy shares back, and increase your dividend. That's where Pepsi is, right?
Yeah.
Pepsi's that company, for example. Like at some point, would Pepsi be better spinning off some of their lines? Because they're one of those next conglomerates. I wonder sometimes
Oh yeah. Yeah.
would they be better to take some of their less profitable, like Kellogg just did,
Mhm.
less profitable lines, spin them off? Maybe. So far, I haven't heard that demand for them. So, all right. Let me pull.
Last topic.
Yeah. I find this. I was gonna play this, but let me play part of it.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
see
for
it on
sure.
the screen?
Not right now. I see white. Okay, now I don't.
Hold on.
Yep.
I'm gonna link this guy because he's another YouTuber, and so he can get views.
Hey.
This. I'll play. I'm gonna speed through it a little bit. Okay. Can you hear it?
No, I cannot.
You can't hear it?
Nope.
Oh shoot! Hold on.
I don't know if it's playing or it opened
No,
up.
I put the wrong screen on.
Yeah.
Bingo. Okay.
Currently
Hey,
being disrupted
we're good.
by AMD. Further, my long-term AMD thesis does not actually depend on the successful disruption of NVIDIA, since AMD has a highly differentiated roadmap on its own. But the asymmetry in case of success is considerable, and that's why it's worth
So for people, I should have prefaced. So this guy's talking about like the case that AMD can disrupt some of NVIDIA's business.
Mhm.
So no one's saying AMD is going to take over number one spot in AI from
Yeah.
NVIDIA. It's not what we're saying, but they could disrupt their business and increase their share of being the number two, right? And there's value in that.
Mhm.
And because I've started getting into AMD a bit, so because the price drop has put it on my radar because it goes through these wild 200 to 140 or 150. So I could say I've done really well in the past trading AMD when it gets to a multiple of 40.
Oh,
That's always been kind of, if I was a TA idiot, I would put like one of those stupid lines at that number and today it bounces off it.
yeah.
But we're not going to say that. So anyways, I'll fast forward through this a little bit. So
exploring. I've explained in the past that as we move towards smaller process nodes, the complexity of producing monolithic chips, NVIDIA's focus, is increasing exponentially. On the other hand, chiplet architecture, AMD's focus, is considerably.
So no one's arguing. Don't kill me on describing this stuff if you're a computer person. So no one's just saying that AMDs are better performing. What we're saying is that AMD's chips are more efficient. So this guy's trying to elaborate. NVIDIA's chip is like a freaking is like a monster truck, right?
Mhm.
It's that big monster, like Bigfoot, jumps the cars. It does everything you want it to do, but it's using a lot of gas and it's expensive to repair and those tires pop. And then whereas let's say AMD is like a dirt bike, it can jump the cars just like the Bigfoot truck, but it's way cheaper, more efficient. It's kind of where he's going with this. And they're two different structure architectures. Monolithic is NVIDIA, and then AMD is chiplets.
less complex,
So efficiency is
assuming
important,
one
right? We're
has
talking about
the
energy is
necessary
going to be key
expertise.
with AI.
Less complexity means higher
These
yields
things are going to be energy hogs.
and therefore lower costs, which makes
Lower
it likely
costs
that
on
over a
energy.
number of iterations, AMD's GPUs will eventually achieve a competitive price to performance ratio. So long as NVIDIA remains set on the monolithic path, AMD is bound to catch up on the hardware side. Following the NVIDIA GTC conference.
Now, I should say too, the reason my friends got invested in AMD long time, like a while ago, my two friends have owned AMD since it was like $20 or $10, because we knew at the time when we were building our PCs, AMD chips were cooler and more stable. That's why we put them in our gaming computers. So they have a history of this. They are more efficient in a lot of ways. It's just kind of the hallmark of an AMD chip to my memory. They've always run cooler, and then stabilization is important if you overclock your processors. I don't do that anymore, but they performed better. That was what sold my friends. Overclock wise, AMD chips ran better than the Intel's. Why? This was like decade ago. So
in March, the word on the street was that NVIDIA had finally pivoted to chiplets, thus mitigating the risk of disruption. However, an in-depth review of Blackwell's architecture reveals that the chip essentially consists of two large chips connected to each other. Previous NVIDIA architectures were fundamentally similar, but for the first time, Blackwell's two chips now act as one at the software and networking level. As such, Blackwell is technically made of two chiplets, and thus represents a tentative first step towards the chiplet architecture for NVIDIA. In this sense, Blackwell is a provisional confirmation of my original observation that NVIDIA was going to have to pivot towards chiplets at some point. However, each of these two chiplets are as large as they can be, right at the limits of reticle size. NVIDIA is therefore already brushing the physical limit that makes producing monolithic chips exponentially harder as we move towards smaller process nodes. What this means, and this is where I think it gets very interesting, is that to add more computational power from here, NVIDIA faces either skyrocketing complexity within each of the two existing dies, or the prospect of adding subsequent monolithic chips together, adding them to the Blackwell architecture.
So that was the part that kind of blew me away thinking about it. And I was talking to my friend about this earlier today. So I get what he's saying there. They've pushed the architecture to a point where it's going to get less efficient on the monolithic setup NVIDIA uses.
Yeah.
So improvements in performance will come at the expense of exponentially increasing like inefficiencies. So I get it. I get this part.
Therefore, if NVIDIA does not fully pivot to AMD's turf over the long term,
So he's
one of
saying
the two things
NVIDIA
can
will
happen.
have to, due to
One,
cost,
NVIDIA stays
switch to an
ahead by
NVIDIA
simply
style
connecting
architecture. And
more monolithic chips,
now
each at
AMD's
the limit
in the
of the
driver's seat.
reticle size, not have to push the limit of physics to continue making higher
All right,
performance.
I'm going forward
It's simply the MI300X minus a few GPU tiles with some additional CPU tiles in their place. It allows AMD to unlock new applications for the MI300 platform at a marginal cost, opening up less contested distribution channels for its core AI technology.
So he's saying like the architecture of AMD is working towards can be repurposed. I have nothing to add to that.
In this particular case, the MI300A is an APU, an accelerated processing unit, which is designed to handle both general processing and graphics processing. This makes APUs ideal for systems in which space and time release of a feature called quote-unquote fuzzy HSA that allows AMD developers to get real-time feedback from users/open source developers. Although most of this activity is barely visible to outside observers, over the long term, the open source approach combined with AMD's budding software capabilities via the Pensando acquisition primarily has a real chance of competing with CUDA.
So he's talking about, so AMD, he believes architecture for their software is going to be more open source. So AMD is going to allow their system, their processors to work with others in one system. Whereas he like CUDA it's like a closed NVIDIA product.
Yeah.
So it reminded me a lot of like John Deere compared to AGCO, the comparison, right? Like John Deere's a closed system. Use John Deere products and service, or you go to hell. AGCO's trying to propose, say we're the farmer's tractor company. So it's like that kind of reminded me of this in this now. AMD's like, for everybody, their approach more.
If
It
the
makes sense. You're
hardware
number two,
progresses
right?
as
You're trying to get
progresses
anybody
as
to
I
like
expect.
because you're not the top
Fundamentally
dog.
speaking, the software dilemma is therefore now AMD and the open source community versus NVIDIA. This considerably
He's saying they'll launch open source software, which hopefully would get more people to latch on to it compared to NVIDIA's systems. Interesting idea. And I've heard other companies talk about open sourcing software just to get more people in the door. Yeah. I think Meta did that for a while. So they have different approaches, right, to AI, which is very interesting to me. And they're related too. Lisa Su and Jensen Wang. They're like third cousins or something.
Yep.
One family lineage is controlling the world's like artificial intelligence systems. Freaking wild.
It is.
Wild.
It certainly is.
What a day.
Increases the
I'd love
odds
to
of
be at that
AMD's
Thanksgiving
structural
freaking dinner.
differentiation on the hardware
I
side
could talk to them.
bearing fruit down the line, since the world naturally wants to avoid being locked into a single vendor.
Yeah, that was the other part, because we've talked about on Discord. I think these companies would love to have another player, because do you think like, I don't think they really like paying $40,000 per GPU for NVIDIA, and they have no choice. NVIDIA, here you go, give us money. They have no options. I'm sure they're dying for more options. And I know AMD's working hard to be that other option, I think. But instead of saying, well, you have to switch from NVIDIA to us, AMD, I think, is going to be like, yeah, you come to us, but you can also use your NVIDIA stuff and you can use ours. Our software works with all of it. We're your friend. Group hug. Lisa Sue, the GOAT. So
to get all the little details right
1 hour we got
to serve
covered.
customers in these statements.
Looking
NVIDIA's
forward
revenue and operating margins continue pushing through all-time highs. OPEX as a percentage of revenue has also declined meaningfully since late 2021, with the company getting much leaner, which I would obviously welcome as a shareholder. Gross margins also continue pushing through all-time highs, albeit driven this quarter by quote-unquote favorable component costs. Management expects this tailwind to continue in Q1 2024 before subsiding. In turn, as I mentioned, the pro visualization and auto, which is all over the news,
I'm gonna go forward.
income away
Yeah.
complexity for clients,
Got it.
and thus having tracking
Okay.
very.
So I will post this underneath. Go give him views, Antonio Linares. He has some other actually interesting videos. He's a Tesla guy. So he has a video on how Tesla could be 20x from here. Give him props. That was a great, I really appreciate, because this is something I'm not really, he the way he explains it, if you watch that whole thing, it's like you can kind of understand it as a layman, what he's talking about. So yeah, he's kind of a new guy, I guess. But yeah, I appreciate the video. So oh wait. There you go. It was that part. No one say anything. Well, I didn't say I've been a long-term fan of his or some bullshit, right? That would have
Yeah.
been awkward. I followed him from the beginning. It's like, uh-oh. But um, so what do you think? Are you gonna buy AMD? Are you
I
scared?
I don't know. I don't know. This is a tough space for me. It like at first
This if you're not comfortable with volatility,
Oh yeah. Like
yeah, you probably
for
hold
me,
on to your butts with
it's
friggin' AMD, because
it's
the stock is psychotic. I bought it at $60 and then it jumps to like 105, 10, and I'm like, yeah, man, I did good. There's like rocket ships up to 200 within a year. It's like, oh my god, it's so oh. And that was when Paul was telling you that it was worth like $10 or $20.
oh yeah.
Remember when
Yeah.
AMD got to like $60? And I think we roasted him.
I think so too.
Paul's like, this is like an $18 stock, guys. Ooh, the revenue, my avenue. It's like, oh my god, this is freaking AMD. Are you kidding me? How many companies in the world are doing the design work they're doing
Yeah.
with Lisa Sue running the show? I mean, so you can see, makes it interesting. Where this is going to be updated, but we're hovering around that point that makes it interesting to me. So I am nibble, or is it nibble? I don't remember. I think this is a company though you should be terrified of making like tranches, like
Oh
we've
yeah.
done with other stuff, like buying
Yep.
like Disney. I bought pretty much everything I wanted up front. This is one of those companies I'm terrified of making big purchases, more of a dollar cost average, idea for something like this. Because first shares I bought when I started DCing into this were at 170, right?
Mhm.
Now here,
Yeah.
shot down.
It's
So very careful. So there, hey, someone said that I always just talk about winners like I'm some sort of cocky, just that comment. So he's like, that guy only talks about winners. And it's like the comment was on the video that we were victory lapping Perion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. the
I'm
very
like,
short-
what do you mean? We're celebrating a win. And then you come on and say I'm cocky. And of course, I'm the one that's cocky, brags about winning all the time, even though we all were doing it. But I get it. But I understand it's because everyone. Okay, before we leave, I was saying this on the private group chat, but
Yeah.
you people out there, you judge investors on their appearance. I'm telling you, except for Warren Buffett, which he gets a pass, I guess, because he's an old man and he's the OG.
Yeah.
But you guys, like, if I went on a stream with, I'm a bald old guy. You people out there will not believe me because I'm not physically well. I don't look like I don't know, Ross Gerber. And I've seen the comments. It's not just one person. People will gripe and because they don't want to believe that someone that looks like me can can be a successful investor. They want to believe that it's the slick guy, right? So you want to believe it's like Ross or meet Kevin, that has the perfect smile and the hair, perfectly kept. But there's a reason that a lot of these ETF sales guys look like him. Like, oh, look at that handsome man.
Oh yeah.
So surely he's better at investing than little old me.
Touch of
he's got
gray.
hair, right? My God, you fucking people, you kill me. Like, it's pretty sad when people want to bring up stuff like physical appearance about investing. Like,
Yeah.
but I've seen the comments. So, but
Physical
if you put me in, if like Fabio and me could say the same shit, and I will be called cocky, which is hilarious. It's like, okay. So that's my last gripe, believe it or not.
All
Take
good.
it or leave it. So I think Fabio will start soon. But
yeah, any
or
future
won't. I haven't seen him put anything up, but
true. Any future content that you're looking to put out, Dan, before we go?
I don't know.
Sorry, I just want to squeeze one last one in.
What was the next one I was gonna do?
You already did value, which
I
I
did
thought was great.
value. Oh, quality should be next.
Hey, there we go. There we
There's
go.
not so much to talk about quality, honestly. It's not like some investment thesis that's been around a long time.
It's fine. Like quality
I don't
is
know
you
yet.
see it and you define it. Like,
Oh no, I should do a covered call ETF review.
Hey, there we
That
go.
seems like a very apt subject considering the times we're in with certain YouTubers. So, oh, the income people crack me up. So, all right. Well, had another good stream. Hopefully, people enjoyed.
Yeah.
I saw half of yours. I was pulling stuff though.
No, that's all good. Thanks for having me on, Dan.
Yep. Let's play an outro. What am I gonna play? Okay, we'll play the old find it. Okay. All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
I'll buy that.